Yeah, that was one of the best we've had, and it got crushed. But 603 is pretty solid. That's a pretty fast map time for Gibraltar.
It definitely is. So, this is sort of where Melty has her time to shine and go, okay, we're not going to get swept. We're going to take Gibraltar. And who knows where we're going to go after that.
Yeah, and let's see if we see any kind of differences going composition-wise on this. I think Roadhog is really going to come into the meta as well. We've seen some people toying with playing with him, and now he just really is able to, not that he had any specific changes on him, he's just really able to shut down kind of those squishies and those backline divers, and now with Genji being a squishier character, if people choose to run him, a good Roadhog should be able to shut him down, and I wonder if this Bastion is going to stick too.
That's a very big possibility. And that being said, taking a look at the defense for Melty as it rolls out here. We got Munel on the Reinhardt, Cabal on the Lucio, Nox on the McCree, Nico on the Genji, Bot on Zenyatta, and D-Gun on Reaper. So what this means, Hex, is that they're going to be running Genji. He will be getting an orb, but he will not have the shields of Symmetra. So a little bit of a squishier Genji here, which could spell trouble going against a hit scan player of Taimu's caliber.
Yeah, I mean, just have to play it a little more conservatively. You can kind of rely on those reflex, but you're generally always going to get out-dueled by a McCree if they do choose to run a McCree. It's going to be interesting to see just where kind of Genji ends up after all of these changes on him. Still does a ton of damage, still great mobility, just not quite the sustain he used to have. Offensively, of course, we're not going to see a Bastion and Torbjorn, unfortunately, but right now they're on 2 Zenyatas. Kind of interesting.
Yeah, so what that means is that they're going to be hyper buffing Pluppy, I feel like. They're making super Pluppy.
No, they're running 2 of them. They're orbing their Tracer and their Genji.
Okay, so they're not making super Pluppy, they're just doing So this is interesting. I think so Pro's just telling me that Taimu was talking about a Tracer specific comp that they want to do, and this might be it.
Yeah, it's a lot of chaos is trying to deal with kind of a nest. Now he got in early and took out his Zenyatta, but now they're getting cleaned up a little bit on the back lines.
Yeah, that's a lot of people down for IDDQD. It's an interesting setup for them, but the Reflex Command from Pluppy able to stay alive there and keep things going for the offense. So even though a lot of people got taken out, they took out more of the Melty defense than not, so they're going to keep rolling here.
Yeah, during that fight, they just had Ingridrup up on the cart the whole time, making steady progress throughout. So even if they traded evenly, they were still making progress on this first point.
Well, that's one of the other big changes that we saw since the past week is that now 1% of the payload is a much bigger deal than it was before. You don't need all 3 people on to really make the payload go quickly. Alright, taking a look at Taimu here. Taimu is poking in. He's looking to go in. Throws the pulse bomb. Misses. Gonna have to back out. Sticking still a bit of a problem for Tracers as a general rule thus far.
This is such an interesting comp. They are just kind of going all out with just these duos of Tracer and Genji getting buffed because now they stick in the Symmetra too. They're running absolutely tankless.
Yeah, and we see the Dragon Blade coming out now from Pluppy. Pluppy don't have to deflect, back up a little bit. And we see the teleporter now, Internet Hulk, the offensive teleporter, because, again, he's running the Symmetra just to buff the Bash Brothers of Tracer and Genji.
Yeah, might be one of the first tankless comps I've seen in a very long time. They're running a Lucio as well, so triple support, 2 DPS, and then I guess utility that is kind of support. So 4 supports, Tracer, and Genji. What a comp.
Well, the other thing about this, too, I'm just going to note the Symmetra's power here, is that it makes his Zenyatta's a lot less squishier as well. So you have 200 HP Zenyatta's, 200 HP Tracer, 200 HP Genji. It's a really cool comp.
Yeah, and
200 HP Lucio.
Well, yeah, and with the Zenyatta being able to charge his shields, kind of his own brand of sustain. Of course, Tracer has her own bit of brand of sustain. Lucio has his own self-sustain. The only ones really out in the lurch here are Pluppy, but he's going to getting the orb too, so... kind of don't really need a tank in this composition. It's really cool. I wonder if she's going to be littering the carts with turrets, too.
Yeah, it's a very big possibility. So, see, the offense still rolling here, but Nico and Nox able to pick off 2 people each, but hang on, here comes Pluppy. Pluppy in the back, not same as Dragon Blade for now, up against the Dragon Blade and Nico. Not always the greatest thing, and he gets kicked in the face by Bod. So both teams trading out a bit here.
Yeah, that was a lot of kills here. There were 4 down. This card is moving non-stop.
Yeah, it's still in favor of IDDQD here with their very unique team comp, to say the least.
This is really cool to see. You wanted to see Tracer back in the meta, and here she is. Just give her double buffs and good to go.
Give her a Symmetra shield, give her a Genji orb. And I gotta think that Melty was not expecting to see a team comp like this today.
Yeah, this is kind of what I was mentioning before, how I think we're going to see Symmetra enter an offensive stage of composition.
You see the plus bomb goes up there, but here comes Melty. Melty roaring right back. 3 kills coming out for Melty as they rush in here. Nico and Moon really being the bulk of it, but now they have to be careful because they did get to the hangar checkpoint. Their spawn points are much more further up, and really for a defense, you have to sort of defend at the bend here rather than trying to go into the hangar.
Yeah, and they forced out a Transcendence, which would be a victory, but there's another Transcendence ready. There's a teleporter ready to be dropped down too, not that it's going to be the most useful right now, and also a sound barrier. So even dealing with one Transcendence, now running this double Zenyatta, you're going to have a second Transcendence you have to deal with too.
Yeah. So, that being said, they're not wasting any time. They are rushing in. We do have the Dragon Blade coming out now for Puppey. Puppey trying to make work of it. 3 kills so far for IDDQD, 4 kills, and they are rolling in. And now Melty's just going to have to back out. And suddenly, their incredible time does not look so incredible because I'll tell you what, Hex, IDDQD has a minute 55 left. This is very much doable for them.
Yeah, minute 55 is an eternity on this last point. Now, I do question when they're going to be able to actually get a wipe and then hold down the team from reinforcing, because we've seen Winston's very capable of that. Speaking of, they're running 3 Winstons on defense.
Puppey just took out Lucio with the long-range spam. That's a really big pick. There's 3 down, 4 down for Melty right now. Puppey having to run for his life from May, but it's not going to matter. That's so many down for Melty. This could be GG, and map number 3 potentially going for IDDQD.
Yeah, Bod was trying to wait for reinforcements there before he jumped in this Winston, but he met a quick death as well, and that composition just wrecked.
Melty was not expecting that. Look at the reaction from Melty in team chat. Melty's just like, wait a second, you guys did what?
Yeah, I really love the offense with Symmetra. I mean, it was something that you noticed when Genji got nerfed. It's like, how are we going to bring him back to his power levels? You buff him with the shields, and then if you're already running a Symmetra, everyone else gets shield too, so you can kind of err on the side of a lighter composition. Zenyatta's been really strong just because of those orbs of discord melting tanks. You don't necessarily have to run a Reaper, so everyone's kind of just hanging out at 200 HP. Literally everyone on that roster, 200 HP, even with shields, and that's just, it's kind of just like Flight of the Bumblebees. They're just so annoying to deal with, those high mobility, high DPS characters, and they had no answer for it.